Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Melissa and I speak about different topics on my channel. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell to be notified every time I upload. Today, I woke up with a beautiful sight outside my window. If you don't know, I live in Houston, Texas, where I'm from the South. Usually, we do not get snow at all in the South. We're not like people in the North that are used to the snow. We're not used to it. It's been snowing, but I think this is the first time that I can remember seeing like white snow, like white snow. Because I remember when I was a little younger. It was snow, but it was like icy snow, and like it wasn't like the snow that you see in New York. And so to wake up in my apartment with my daughter and her seeing snow for the first time ever, the snow that we saw, because like I said, last year it was this type of snow, and the year before that, but I did not go outside just because I was like, no. I didn't want to. But just experiencing that with my daughter for the first time and everything. I did post videos on my TikTok account, and I posted on my Facebook and my Instagram account. But it was just so amazing. Even though it was like, it's cold, just seeing her play and how happy she was, it just really melted my heart. I did post videos on Snapchat, I believe, as well. I will leave my link of my social media on this video. So today I have a celebrity death. I consider this person a celebrity because she went through a lot when she was alive. So I do consider her a celebrity, and there's gonna be some of the same people that I'll be talking to that I have on my list that in my eyes are a celebrity because of what they went through. So the first person that I will be talking about is Sara Forbes Bennett. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started with her story. So originally named Ania, Aini, she was born on 1843 in Octon in Igaldo Ubar village in West Africa, which recently became independent from the Oyo Empire after it collapsed. The kingdom of Diana was under subjugation by Oyo, and it was a historical enemy of the Yoruba people. I am so sorry if I'm saying this. I'm not from Africa, okay? Yo and Diana began to engage in a war in 1823 after Zio, the new king of Diana, refused to pay annual tributes to the Hoyo. During Hoyo's war with Diana, Oyo was weakened and destabilized by the Islamic Sedais launched by the growing Soko Calipia. The Oyo Empire began to degrade by 1830s. Free meeting landed into various mosque states. Diana army began to expand eastwards into Hoyara's form and defend Igado territory, capturing Igado slaves in the process. In 1843, Oak Dawn was invaded and captured by the army of Diana. Annie's parents died during the attack, and other residents were either killed or sold into the unflagged slave trade. Iana ended up the court of King Gasso of Diana as a young child slave. Diana was a major West African power that immensely profited from the Atlantic slave trade after the British abolition of slavery. King Gizial fought against British attempts to lead Diana's exploitation of slaves. Biographer and historian of Africa Martin Medidas quotes King Keso telling the British, quote, "The slave trade has been the ruling principle of my people. It is the source of the glory, the wealth. Their songs celebrate their victories, and the mothers lose in the child to sleep, with notes of tripping over an enemy, reduce slavery," end quote. In July 1850, Captain Franklin E. Forrest of the Royal Navy arrived to West Africa on a British demolic mission, where he successfully attempted to negotiate with King Gesso to end precipitation in the Atlantic slave trade. As was customary, Captain Forrest and King exchanged gifts with each other. King Gesso offered Forrest a footstool, rich county cloth, a keg of rum, 10 heaps of Kerry shells, and a copper stool. King made it clear that he would not stop the slave trade. He believed that the palm oil had some profit but little power. Connor Forrest was refused and angry that the Dominion holiday ceremonies continue currently, with Connor Forrest continuous discussion with King. Forrest stayed to count the number of soldiers under King. He felt that the Dominion March was intending to show his power and give the impression that his army was larger and more powerful. So, Commander then heard a scream and then looked to a group of Dominions where were waving their guns and carrying people in a little basket. Forrest was informed by an interpreter that those he saw being taken in little baskets were going to be executed. The ceremony was called I'm not even going to try to say it, or watering of the graves. The people in the basket were dressed in white garments, were to be slaughtered, and their blood dripped in the graves of the high-ranking Dominions. Some of the intended victims had been held in captivity for over 2 years. For this tradition, they were being carried while their hands and feet were tied together. As the victims were dragged through the ranks, the Doms poked and gabbed them with the knives and spears. Commodore watched in horror as a man from the basket tipped over to a pit, and the man viciously fell down. As he hit the ground, he was instantly attacked and his head cut off. Forrest tried but failed to make King stop the retailed. Then he offered him money. The king eventually allowed him to bargain for some of the victims. However, king interpreters clarified that the custom of watering the ancestral graves was an accident and one could not be disconnected without dishonoring the developed people. He had never witnessed a ritual this various and violent. He was certain that this was the worst moment he had ever encountered in all years fighting to the slave trade. He then noticed the girl Ania. She was so tiny, so silly, so still, as they carried her close to the pit. But drums became more intense. Forrest was appalled. He found it hard to comprehend how a king could really murder a child. However, Giza found it extremely easy to sacrifice the girl. Avix explained that she was in a Gabado, a Donner enemy. Her blood on the king and Sir Tom's would be tribute to them. Forrest panicked and asserted King Gazel that the King Victoria wouldn't honor a king that would kill a child. So the king offered Ania to be a gift for Queen Victoria. Forrest estimated that Ania was enslaved by King Gizo for 2 years. Although her actual ancestry is unknown, Forrest came to the conclusion that Nia was like to have come from a high status background because the tribal markings in her face, and that she had not been sold to European slave trades. Describing Ania in his journal, he wrote, quote, "One of the captivities of this dreadful slave hunt was this interesting girl. It is usually to reserve the best born for the highest beast of royal and the emolution on the tombs of the deceased nobility." End quote. So he was notorious for the mass executing his captives and particularly human sacrifice ritual as part of the annual custom of Domon. Forrest was aware of Ania's potential daily faith, and as he wrote in his journal refusing Ania, he said, quote, "Would have been to have signed her death warrant, which probably would have been carried in execution forthwith. Captain Forrest accepting Anias in behalf of the Queen Victoria and a mark on his journey back to Britain." So Queen Victoria, Captain renamed Sara, so that's why we know her Sara, Forrest Bennett, after himself and his HMS Bennett. He intentionally intended to raise her himself. However, Sara was later taken to meet Queen Victoria, and she told her Majesty about her horrible life. That for a couple of years she was kept in a small cage next to other unfortunate prisoners who she watched from time to time to be taken out and slaughtered in the rituals of the king of. Her jailers often taunted her with the truth that she was being saved for ceremonial purposes too, and when it suited him, King intended to sacrifice her as a gift to his royal insert tomb. King Victoria was touched by her story, and she requested that Sara have her photo taken after their visit. Sara was taken to the English-based studio of American photographers John J. Miller. Sara was afraid of the photographer because she had no idea what he intended. When she noticed a portrait of a man with a sword hanging on the wall, her fear turned into panic. She yelled, cut head off, as she quickly ran her hand down her throat. Cut head off. Sara knew from her years in captivity that swords were meant for head cuts. It was necessary to reassure her, the trembling girl, that the man wishing the sword was not real and would not hurt her. Queen Victoria was impressed by the young prince's exploration intelligence, and that the girl whom she called Sally raised her goddaughter in the British middle class in 1851. Sara developed a aeronautical cough, which was tribute to the climate of Britain, and her guardians sent her to school in Africa in May of that year, when she was age 8. She attended the Annie Walsh Middle School in Freton, Sierra Leone. The school was founded by the Church Ministers Society, and in January 1849, as an institution for young women, the girls were relatives of the boys in the Sierra Leone Gannett School, found in 1845. In the school register, her name appears only as Sally Bennett, Prairie number 24, and in June 1851, Hoon married Captain Davis in England in 1962 and was awarded Queen Victoria. She returned to England in 1855 and was 12. She was entrusted to the care of the Reverend Franklin Shana and his wife Elizabeth, who lived in Palm Cottage, Contribute Street, Gillingham. The house surveys in January 1862. She was invited to attend the wedding of Queen Victoria's daughter, Princess Alice. So she was later commanded by the king to marry Captain James Pinson Bolu Davis at Sweet Nicholas Church in Brinton East, Saugus, in August of 1862. After a spirit spending time preparing for the wedding, during her sequence time in Bridgeton, she lived at 17 Clinton Hill in the Montpelier area. Captain David was a Yoruba businessman of considerable wealth, and after the wedding, the couple moved back to their native Africa, where they had 3 children: Victoria, born in 1863, Arthur, 1871, and Stella, 1873. Sara continued to enjoy such a close relationship with Queen Victoria that she and Bishop Samuel Origi Courtier were the only legals indigenous the Royal Navy had standing orders to evacuate them in the event of an uprising in Lagos. Victoria Matilda Davis, Bonnet's first daughter, was named after Queen Victoria, who was also her godmother. She married the successful locals Dr. John Randall, becoming the stepmother of his son, Nigerian businessman and society J.K. Randall. Bonnet's second daughter, Stella Davis, and Harbert McLeany, the grandson of Samuel Cornwall, had a daughter together. Sara, I'm not even going to say this name, named after her maternal grandmother. Sara and her paternal grandmother, Abigail, a descent of Sara's, though her line was the Aborini. Many of Sara's other descendants now live in either Britain or Sierra Leone. A spread branch and Randall family of Lagos remains present in the contemporary region. Why do people back then have the word? I'm sorry, like I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but they had the weirdest names ever. Because what? Y'all couldn't come up with easier names. I'm sorry. Like I'm telling you, I'm not trying to be rude, but that's just me. So we're gonna be talking about her death and her legacy. So Sara died of tuberculosis. Yes, I said it right. Tuberculosis in 1850 and on August 15th of 1880 in the city of Flanch in the capital of Madrid Island in Portuguese Island in the Atlantic Ocean. In her memory, her husband erected an over 8-foot grain ballistically shaped mountain in western Lagos where he had started a coca farm in the inspiration of the obelisk reeds. In memory of Princess Sara Forbes Bonetta, wife of the John J. P. L. Davis, who departed this life in Madrid August 15th of 1880. She was only 37 years old, guys. This is, to me, is the youngest. I'm sorry, a lot of people are like, oh, that's old. No, it's young. For you to die of tuberculosis at 37 years old, that is young. Like, that is too young. That is crazy. Her grave is number 206 in the British Cemetery funeral near the Atlantic Holy Trinity Church, Rue Quat, Costa Funjo, Madrid. A plaque communicating Forbes Bonetta was placed in a Palm Cottage in 2016 as part of the television series Black and British, A Forgotten History. A nearly commemoration portrait of Forbes Bonetta by artist Hannah Orser went on display at the Burson House in the East of Wight in October 2020 as part of an effort by the English Heritage to recognize Black history in England. Forbes Bonetta was portrayed by Sarah Englehart in 2017 British ITV television series Victoria. And that is this case of her. The reason why I wanted to talk about her was because she is one of these people that she went through so much at a very young age. And if it wasn't for this king saving her life, who knows what could have happened. The fact that he saw this beautiful young child who was about to be beheaded and sacrificed, because that's what they were doing. They were going to cut her head off, and the blood of her was supposed to be sacrificed. I don't understand what they were trying to do. That's, to me, is disgusting. That is the most disgusting thing you could do. But for you to sit there and just, you're about to cut a head of a child. You behead a child. And for her to go through so much and then grow up to be one of the most amazing friend, mother, wife, it's so amazing to me, because these people have gone through so much. You know, they were mistreated. They were put in cage. They were treated like animals. And you could tell when Victoria wanted to take a picture of her and she saw a man holding a sword, and she got scared because she knows, she has that in her mind. She was still having that thought in her mind. And, you know, and Queen Victoria, you know, felt for her story and understood the fear that she had, and she sent her to the best schools that at that time could be, and it's from the time period for a king, a queen to be friend with an African American wasn't something that was not heard of. But I do commend Queen Victoria for staying friends with her and for keeping her in her life even after she got married. For Sara to name one of her daughters after Queen Victoria, it just really amazed me, and it teaches you as human that no matter what, it's nothing to do with skin color. It doesn't have to do with anything with religion. It doesn't have to do with where you're from or what you believe in. As long as you love each other and respect each other, that's all that matters. And her story really touched me, just because she went through so much at a very, very young age. And this king that didn't even know her saved her from from one of the worst things that I think I've ever heard, because I really don't remember being taught this in history class, but just the fact that she became a woman, and the woman that she became, and you know, she became a wife, a mother, is amazing. And I'm just still shocked that she died so young. And I'm glad that people finally know who she is, because like I said, I don't remember ever, and I love history, but I don't remember ever being spoken about her in history class, and that to me is not fair. So yeah, guys, that is it. We will see you soon with another video. I will be doing more videos of these, where I be speaking about African Americans in slaveries. To you, they may not be considered celebrities, but to me, in my eyes, they're considered celebrities, because if it would have not been for them and what they sacrificed, we would not be here. Mind you, yes, we still have a lot to work on, because still to this day we do still see racials. We still see black and white fighting, Mexicans and Hispanic. We still see that problem, and that problem needs to stop, and we should accept each other and love each other for who we are. We should accept what we believe in. We may believe in different things, but that does not mean that we should hate each other, because the only person that should be judging us at the end of the day is God. God is the one who's going to judge us when we die. When we die, and the first person that we're going to see in those gates is going to be God. And trust me when I tell you, God is going to have a book and be like, look, he's going to ask questions. Okay? He is going to ask questions. He's going to be like, what were you thinking? And trust me when I tell you, God probably has a big chapter on my name. And yeah, he's probably asking questions now, like what is wrong with Melissa? I'm gonna have to answer that when I get there. But yeah, we need to stop judging people. The only person that should be judging us is God, because at the end of the day, He made us through His eyes. He knows. I always say this, and I'm always gonna say this. Our lives is a book. Every single one of us, our books is different. Each chapter in the book is different. And some of us may come across each other in one of our chapters. Some of us may not. But our books are different. It's called our story. It's a story about our life. And not everybody's book is the same. Yes, there's people that may be going through the same thing that we are going through right now, and they're dealing with it in a whole different situation. I may be, I have gone through a lot. I've been through drama, and I know that there's, and I'm gonna use this sample as some serial killers. They go through so much drama. I'm not defending what they're doing, because I'm not doing that. But when it comes to serial killers, if you look at every single one of them, all of them, most of them had a bad childhood. And in their messed up mind, they think that they're taking their anger and their pain to kill innocent people that it had nothing to do with their lives is the right thing to do, when it's not. Because see, like I said, I've gone through my trauma, but you don't see me killing innocent people and blaming them for what happened to me as a child. So that's why I don't think you should judge people, because our lives are not the same. Our chapters are not the same. Each of us have a book, our own book, and our chapters are different. So don't judge someone for being who they want to be just because you don't appreciate it or you don't like it. Focus in your life. Focus on your book. And don't focus on everybody else's books. Because at the end of the day, like I said, judge the last person who's going to be judging us after we're done, after we pass, after we're dead. The first and last person that's going to be waiting for us is God. And you're going to have to explain so much, because God is going to ask you why you did this, why you said that, what is this, why is this, why is that. And I know God forgives, but I also know God has the right to punish you. If y'all don't know, the devil was an angel. He was an angel. He was the one of the angel of all the angels that God had in his throne. But guess what he wanted to do? He wanted to disrespect God. He didn't want to listen to God. So what did God do? Send him down to hell. Whether y'all believe me or not, that's not me. I believe in heaven and I believe in hell. And because the devil did not want to listen to God and did not want to basically do what God was telling him to do, he got mad. So God punished him. So if you think that God cannot punish you for your mistakes, you are wrong. God will punish us. Yes, we are his children. Yes, he loves us. But that does not mean that God will not punish us to teach us the lesson that we need to learn. And with that being said, guys, like I said, I will see y'all in the next video. I hope y'all have a great day. If y'all live in the South, guys, please keep your butt warm. Please keep yourself warm, and do not drive. Do not drive. If you live in the South, do not drive, because from what I know, tires in the cars in the South are not meant to be driven. I've seen, me and my daughter went outside just for a little bit. We maybe go outside later on, but I had to come back because my head was hurting. But don't drive. Stay safe. And if you don't have nowhere to go, stay your butt safe. Bye.